I think that we're now live. I hit the button and here we are. As our audience starts to filter in, it's a good time for me to say hey to everyone. Thanks for joining us. We are simulcasting on Clubhouse if you want to check that out, or if you want to listen while you're on the go. That's under the Clubhouse called Minding Your Own Business, same as the name of the series. I am super pleased to be welcoming our panel today. I just met one and I've known the other one for a really long time, and I'm madly in love with both of them. So I just want to start with Katie Buntsma. I feel like I said her name right. I could be wrong about that. What is it, Katie?
Buntsma, like bunt the ball.
Buntsma the ball. So Katie and I, gosh, we met a really long time ago when she was so super nice to me. I was going to put up a weird exhibition at Team One, and there was like crumpy moments, and she was just like, hey honey, let me help you. And I was like, oh my God, I love you already. And then I got the true pleasure of getting to know her over the years when she left Team One and went to Saatchi & Saatchi. And now she's at MullenLowe, just starting there. Katie is a senior integrated producer at MullenLowe. And so Katie, tell us, what do you love most about the business?
I think I love that no day is the same, and you get, like, from my point of view as a producer, I get to work with so many different creative minds and get to just make everything that's really beautiful happen on time and in budget. It's a really fun job to be like 50% creative and 50% business and just make everything happen. Yeah, that's my favorite part.
Well, that's a good, I mean, nothing wrong with that. So I'm going to move on to Timothy. As I mentioned, he's my newest favorite person. And I met Timothy when he did our portfolio event a couple of months back, and we got to chatting, and I'm such a wallflower that we really had nothing to say. No, we got along famously. And when I reached out about this event, he was all in because he spends a lot of time looking at websites and so on. So I'm super excited that you're here with us, Timothy. Timothy's, do I do Tim or Timothy?
Yes.
Okay.
Timothy is pretty clinical. You can call me Tim.
I can go with the Tim. Okay, so now that we're such friends. So Timothy Garrett is a creative director at Known. His work history includes Concept Arts Inc., Black Box Creative Group, and The Counter. And so, you know, I'm going to ask you the same question. What is it about this business that you love?
I would definitely have to say it comes down to telling stories. I just love the ability, you know, on any front, but just the ability to tell someone else's story or make moments that people can connect with both visually and emotionally. It's really about the physics of communication, marketing, this business of marketing, I see.
Well, I think that's a good answer. There's no wrong answers, of course. I mean, well, I suppose there must be, but not today. So we're going to move right into the, you know, questions at hand. You know, we're going to go right to site exploration. And in that, Timothy is actually going to drive for us today. We have 4 photographers that were interested in having you guys have that initial, you know, at a glance experience, looking at their sites as you would if you were, you know, if you just received an email from them or you were looking at them for any various reasons. So let's start with that. Timothy, go ahead and screen share.
All righty. Here we go. All right. So this looks like this is the first one, Richard Schultz. All right. I mean, first things first, I like the full coverage of the imagery, letting the work kind of be at the forefront there. So I definitely love that. Nice logo treatment. Let's see, we've got portfolio, so simple navigation up here. Maybe we can go to portfolio first. Okay. So it seems there's different buckets here. Life, portraits, Cinco. Okay, so there's a scroll. Great. Beautiful imagery.
just to give you, just to sort of echo you, you like the starting as a slideshow.
Yeah, I think the full screen coverage of, coming out swinging and showing your best work first and foremost, I think is the best. Just going back to that, I think it's always a good idea to have that first image be the most impactful, as the whole theme of this is first impressions. So always putting your best foot forward. And I like that it's the full page, so we're not distracted by anything.
Katie, do you agree with that?
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I like how you can, very quickly go into kind of more thumbnail galleries. But as far as the slideshow, it feels like you don't linger on any one image for too long, so you can get a really quick taste of work. And it's not just black and white, it's not just families, it's not just young people, it's not just old people, it's not just environmental portraits, it's not just lifestyle portraits. Already I'm seeing kind of a wide variety of what this person can do and what their depth and their breadth is. So I like that.
Does this take the place of an overview for you guys, or do you want to see that too? Is this just a nice entrance?
I think this is just a nice opening act. For
Okay,
sure.
so if we go into the portfolios again, Tim, maybe?
Sure.
So you were saying, Tim, that there's several buckets. And so sometimes we see navigation. Sometimes we see navigation across the top. Sometimes we see it more like this. Do you have a preference?
I think if I'm first reviewing someone's work that I haven't seen, I definitely want to have something a bit more constructed rather, and that's clear of where to go. This seems like it takes a different approach where it's a bit more arbitrary, but it's kind of what I referred to with stories is this artist is trying to tell us their story of what they think is, obviously going to be their forte, and putting up front the things that mean the most to them. And also I think the imagery is gorgeous, and it's nice to see them in, different scales. So it is kind of a nice surprise.
This works for you.
This does work for me because I like something a little more unconventional. That being said, the order in which the images is a little bit arbitrary. So I think it kind of leave up to me as the viewer of where do I want to go first, rather than this is where you need to look. Clicking on, for instance, life, okay, going in there, and then this kind of becomes more of your standard scroll. Really nice, kind of switching up between 1 and 2 up images. Again, nice and large for the
oh my gosh, that panda, that was awesome.
And then I'm actually wondering, can I click into these? Yep. So it seems there's also multiple view where you can then start kind of swiping through side to side.
So I'm going to go to Katie with the question. Do you like swipe side to side? Do you like the scroll? Do you have a preference in that way?
I think it's nice once you click into it. I do wish that you could, underneath the portfolio tab, just see the delineation of how everything breaks out, because you can see that underneath his other tabs, he has it broken out. And I think from a producer point of view, it would be a little bit difficult to just send a straight website and then know that the creatives can get lost in it and not necessarily go to exactly where you need them to go, or see exact images that you want them to see, because there's times where certain creatives can get stuck on a certain image or a set of images, and for that reason alone, they end up dismissing a really, really great photographer. And so you end up having to say, like, if you scroll, maybe like just look at that Madrid set of images. Only look at the Madrid set of images. See, like, this is the reason why you can work with them. And
so I'm noticing on the side, I'm so sorry to cut you off, but I'm noticing on the side here, he has a PDF builder. Is that a tool you use often?
I haven't used that often, but I probably should.
Well, just given what you just said, you want them to see certain things and not other things. And I also feel like the way you guys are answering is making me so happy because it's so, you guys have different roles in your companies, right? And so, you know, the way you look and the way you're trying to direct things, Katie, is completely different than the way, you know, Timothy goes in and starts to be in sort of in the stories and so on. I love I'm again in love with you guys. I think that's like so super that we're getting both elements here.
Yeah, I think also it just comes down to, for me at least, you know, what's the exact thing that I'm looking for? What's the type of photography that I'm looking for? So just kind of also to echo Katie's point earlier, I think having a bit more of an order up front and then breaking it down could be more beneficial to getting deeper into the work.
Having both, like, can't hurt, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's see what else. Anything else we can see here, or maybe we move on to the next.
I think we should move on to the next one. We don't want to miss out on anybody and keep our flow. But you know, Richard is a very, very talented photographer. There's no doubt.
I can see that.
So
all right. So Jasmine, we'll go over to Jasmine.
Oh,
I love that. Great image.
So now this is her home page. There's no slideshow.
Nope. Doesn't
Okay.
seem it. Yeah, we've got our home logo button, a little navigation over here on the left with a subtle carrot animation. And I like that they're kind of separated without too much adornment or too many separators, so nothing like that. So it's pretty straightforward. I like that that's clear. We can click on the overview. Brings us into kind of a Tumblr feed style. And this gets us right into it. There's a lot of mix in here, I think. So it's nice.
Landing image like immediately set the tone for what we're getting on the overview. I was like, I know who this photographer is going to be right away. And
yeah,
to the overview page, and it's like, that's exactly it.
Yeah.
It's fun.
There's the energy in there, nice symmetry. Yeah.
It's energetic.
Even like the use of color, like the hyper focus of color in the center there. And then, you know, that, as you said, sets the tone for what we're going to see in that overview, which is very much a continuation of that energy.
Exactly.
I do like that it breaks it down into kind of a 2-off column grid. And then clicking into one of those stays within the same window, which is nice. And then it seems there's also a swipe function, click side-by-side function. Let's see. Yep. Nice subtle swipe animation. Let's see if we can actually.
I want to make the side note that we're sharing this via Zoom and there's always a slight delay. So I have a feeling that Timothy's experience is really quick and fine, and the rest of us.
Super sweet. Super smooth.
Yeah, it's very smooth. So I don't want to give anybody the impression that this is a slower site than it is. It is not. It's very good.
Yeah, no, it's very simple and clean, which is nice. I like the touch of the color in the navigation too. Kind of gets out of the way of the imagery as well. So that's kind of the overview. Oh, okay. And then we've also got a subsection for each of the newer or the other parts of the navigation. So new work has 2 different projects, it seems.
Now, I would also like to ask the question. It seems quite pale. I'm having a difficult time reading this, the words on this side. You are not having that experience, are you, Timothy?
It's a little bit difficult when it's not highlighted. So, you know, for instance, when we're back on the home page here, easy to read because it's against a dark backdrop. But then when we get into the white, the highlighted section that we're in, that's easy to see, which is, you know, overview at the moment. These lighter pastels, obviously showing that they're not active, but at the same time also difficult to potentially see what the title is there on a small scale. So maybe that could be an issue on mobile.
Oh, good point. Okay.
But yeah, I do like the separation of projects here, the subsections.
There's sort of a story section, right?
Yeah, exactly. So we start with the general, with the overview right at the top, and then going through projects one at a time, but still separated so the aesthetics aren't necessarily blended.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Lifestyle. Okay. Get some more of these really high energy laughing shots. Kids and family. Okay.
Hmm.
Trying to see if there's any other subsections.
No,
that we
but
can
you
check.
went over that baby with his foot up. That was so good. Like, I saw the slightest. It was in kids and family. Look at that baby.
Yeah.
What a
I
great
mean,
shot.
come on now. Like that is just, sorry.
Yeah, it's a lot of attitude. I dig it.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. It came, you went through it quickly, but I saw that and went, wow. So this is, sort of a traditional nav, really
Mhm.
clear, you know exactly where you're going, United, exactly, to me, this is the personification of KISS, right? It's like
Mhm.
super simple, really clean, like
Mhm.
very easy to get where you want to go. This is what we want in a site.
Yeah, and also I have to say, at least on my end, like an ease of use of the interface for sure. Just very simple, like you said, clean feeling in movement as well.
Katie, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I think I really like the way that this site is laid out. I think it's really nice, super clean. I like that commissions is kind of broken out so you can see exactly what is been kind of commercial work. And I really appreciate that there's some added bits of motion in here because we all know that budgets are getting smaller and photographers are being asked to cross over and directors are being asked to cross over the other way. That's my title. So
I was just
It's a
going to
really
say,
great point, actually.
it's a really good point, and I'm wondering if it would be important to you, like you may or may not get to Paul and the Tall Trees, right? I mean, you probably will, but maybe would you want to see that motion capability in that overview? Because I don't recall it being there.
Definitely.
yeah, for sure.
So
Yeah, I think the more you can show that, the better. And to your point, Katie, like being able to show that you can wear many hats, I think is super, super good to know.
Yeah. Yeah, understatement of the year.
Yeah.
absolutely. So that should be up front. So that's just I mean, that's great. Okay.
Yeah.
So then maybe we can move on to the next person. Jasmine is
Sure.
obviously got a gorgeous site, and I don't think I've
Yeah,
ever spent this
gorgeous.
much time there. So I love that I had that opportunity personally. So let's move on to Mary.
All right, Mary Rafferty. Very nice, very clean.
But I so want to know, do you see me like right away? I want to know what that, I mean, did you guys feel that same pull?
I see, yes, definitely strong color choices for sure. And so I love that the grid feels a bit arbitrary, but less so than perhaps Richard's, the first one we looked at. Still is that sense of the grid. And then the imagery, obviously striking and beautiful. I like the kind of littering of color, the variety in there, that just with landing on here above the fold, we've already got a good grasp on who this artist is.
And I have to say, I found myself pulled towards the nav bar, and that's where I saw, do you see me? And I instantly wanted to know what that was.
Do you see me?
Yeah. When I saw that as a navigation title, I instantly wanted to know what that was. And normally I don't like clever navigation titles. Do you guys have thoughts about navigation titles like that? Like, are you more?
I think as long as it's not too far off from what the intended section is, do you see me? We don't really know what it is, but that's enticing. That's exciting. But we've already got overview, portraits, events clear. So I'm not as confused, or I don't feel like I will be confused. That's almost like a bonus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if portrait, for instance, was, a bit more abstract of a name,
right,
then it might be a little harder to navigate.
QRXT, you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Randomized password that Google gives you. Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And Katie, do you feel that way too, that do you like sort of the conventional naming?
Yeah.
You do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Because then like the do you see me thing, it kind of immediately sticks out to me like, oh, that's a personal project. I can, get into that as much as I want or as much as I need, which is
Mhm.
good to know.
And personal projects, do those draw you almost first, or do you look at the commercial work first?
Depends. It truly depends on the project that I'm looking at too. There's a lot of times
Mhm.
that I'll look at the personal work first, simply because I might already know the artist and I want to see what they've been doing to stretch themselves. And the personal work is something that lets me know they're investing time in themselves, they're investing time in their craft, and
Mhm.
they're keeping up to date with the latest styles and trends. And they're going to be an even better fit for the creative project that I'm working on.
Mhm.
So does this scroll down, Timothy? Is this a?
It does.
Yeah.
Also, by the way, I found your Do You See Me? I think it might be this project.
Oh, okay. There you go. So it's in the top and the bottom. That's smart.
Mm-hmm. Leads me to believe it's a very important project. This scrolls nicely.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like each one of these has the story then there. So it serves two things. You're in portraits, but you're also getting
Mhm.
behind the story. I would assume you could click deeper on these.
Yeah. So, oh, here's another Do You See Me? So maybe we click on that. Seems like a larger project.
Beautiful.
Yeah, these are great.
And I'm blind, so
Like
I
the
can't
face.
read that. Unfortunately, I would have to.
Let's see what this is. Yeah, it's quite a bit. It's important though. Yeah. I like the quick fade between, very clear forward and backward. Let's see. And then how do I get out of here? Okay, so there's an X over here. Leaves me off where I started. Great. And then it kind of cuts off right there. Okay, so it's a good amount of space. Social bugs at the bottom. I might move the social bugs to the top.
Yeah.
Just again, being above the fold so that the second I land on there, the less work I have to do as the viewer.
You said social bugs. What does that mean?
Yeah, so any sort of social channels or links out to
Okay.
contact, or down here on the bottom left, I would move those
I've
up.
never heard it referred to as a bug before. I feel like I'm
Oh
learning
yeah.
lingo. I would have thought of icons. I would have put the social icons or the
Yeah,
social.
one and the same.
Yeah. I'm gonna call them bugs now though, because I'll be hipper.
Yeah. It's more the in the know type of crowd. So yeah, I would put them up here near the main navigation, just so everything's there up front when I land. Yeah, and let's see, projects seems separate from, we've got the drop down that we were talking about, and then connect.
Yeah.
So yeah, it looks like you've got follow me under connect, but again, the bugs or the icons might be more apparent.
Is there anything about a contact page that you guys want or don't want?
Oh, I have a lot of opinions about this. If you go to the contact page.
Would you click on her contact page?
Yeah, that's a good contact page. I want to know how I get in touch with you, where you're located. I mean,
You want a picture?
I love a picture. I love a picture. I want to know what you look like. And just because, like, I want to be able to go, like, put a face with a name. We can't see each other in person anymore. So I want to visualize who I'm reaching out to when I'm reaching out. And I want like some sort of background on who you are. Do you like mac and cheese? Like my bio says that I like bubble baths and mac and cheese, not necessarily paired together. Like, I want a little personality of who you are.
Yeah, there's some authenticity there.
Yeah,
Exactly.
mine is similar. It's lilacs, big dogs, and my Christmas tree. It's like, you
Yeah.
know, everything you need to know about me from those three things. Like,
Well, no, and
although
also I think
now
just to that
rethinking
point,
mac and cheese.
you go through so many different websites in one sitting, being able to actually see the face behind each of those, so that there's a face that comes up when you think of that name separate from the work, because all of the work is fantastic. It's just a matter of who are the
And it
different
maybe
people.
allows this information to be a little more memorable.
Precisely. And I
Mhm.
know that photographers hate going in front of the lens, but like just do it for once. just for
Do it
us
once.
to be
So you
remembered.
don't want the picture of them taking a picture.
No.
The camera in the mirror,
Yeah.
not necessarily.
The camera in
The
front
eyes
of
are the
them, and
window to the soul.
you see
Eyes are
the,
the window to the soul.
the cyborg
Like
element.
if it's you on set acting a fool, like I like that. It lets me know like what kind of energy you're gonna bring. Like those are fun.
Oh yeah, on set, totally. I just meant like maybe the portrait in the mirror.
No, I know exactly what you're talking about, but like I've seen a couple photographers who have like the goofiest kind of out of focus picture of them on set being like, "Rah!" And I love it. I love it. It's
Yeah.
like you're dirty, you're probably sunburned, you probably also have bug spray on you. It's perfect. I
Yeah,
know
and that energy is how you get the shots that you get.
exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
You're probably on hour 14. Perfect. I love it. But you know,
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember that, and it makes me be like, okay, cool. Like that person can hang.
Well, this is an
Mhm.
important point. I remember that. You're both saying that a couple of times here. So making your about page memorable is maybe more important than your awards or your client list, or are they equally as important?
I think they're equally as important, but like I'll always remember this silk bomber jacket and how beautiful it is. And
Mhm.
It is beautiful. You're right. I want this jacket.
A really nice soft lighting.
yeah,
She obviously knows what she's doing.
exactly.
I also like there's a subtle ombre in the hair. It's really nice.
Exactly.
Oh,
Like,
that's
and great bangs. Like nobody, not everybody can pull off.
Yeah.
I also love, just on a side note, that her initials are Mr. This is very interesting to me.
Oh yeah.
I love that.
It's call out.
So let's move on to our next site. This one's
Okay.
Shayna and
Shayna.
Shayna Fishman. And
Oh, I love.
I know, right? Animals. Like,
Well, I think I actually during portfolio review saw this one and I
oh,
loved
okay.
it.
Yeah, I
Um,
and of course I'm such a fangirl because I'm such an animal lover that every time I talk to her, I mistakenly am like, I need you to shoot my dogs. Like, I'm sure she hears that from every single person she's ever met.
yeah.
But I mean,
I'm actually just curious. I'm gonna try something real quick. I'm just gonna reload and see if it lands on the same first image. Okay, yeah. So I think this is the exact same first image. I love that that is the first image that she wants you to see.
and this cat, like, wow.
Going back to like personality, like you know what's in store just on that first introduction of that one image. A balloon tied around the belly of was that a pug? Adorable. Navigation's pretty clear. Love that. We've got some drop downs over here, but okay, so dogs, cats. Let me just see if this scrolls. No, no scroll. Okay, so click onto dogs.
So it's pushing you from the slideshow. It starts with a slideshow. You like a good slideshow, and then it moves us. Then it pushes you into choose a category. That's smart.
Yeah, and wow,
I know.
really great work. This really works
Black dog
for
in the corner. Just the forehead on that black dog in the corner is like
this one over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I noticed that too. It looks like there's a second set of eyes.
Like everything. Like,
yeah, the third eye area. Let's see. How do I X out of here?
it's tough to, like, her imagery is so awesome that it's so tough. And I'm such a dog person that it's like, oh, the website's fine. Let's look at more dogs.
Right, that is a person face right there. Okay,
Oh.
how do I, let's see, how do I exit out of here? Press back. Okay. This is great.
So good.
Love the multi-views. I like starting with the grid. It's a nice breadth of work, and then clicking into the more intimate details. I almost would love to
Pointer.
see just one at a time, but
Look at that pointer. I mean, look at these. It's so good.
now this is my kind of site.
Yeah.
All right. So anyways, back to the
Okay,
nav.
let's back
I
to
like
the
the
navigation.
detail.
Back to navigation. Okay.
Yeah,
so-
highlight on each detail is really nice. It seems there's a plus and minus icon change when scrolling over. So over here on the left, minus, over
I
here
think
plus. So it's
it's just move forward, move back.
yeah, but just that the fact that the icon changes to that, I think, is a nice kind of quirky touch. This is great.
Yeah, this
So
is a super fun website that I think is laid out really, really well. And I like that there's stock as an option, just knowing that, you know, clearly she must work within that realm. And there's a really easy link to that for people who need that for themselves. It's just a really, really smart.
She has a motion tab, which you guys always want to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I love this cat over here. You might not be able to see it in the quality of what's coming through, but the eyes are kind of wincing. It's nice.
Oh, okay. No, I didn't see that. I'm obsessed with the puppies and the pink.
I know. It's like, you can tell who's dog people and who's cat people on this call.
That's so funny. It's true. Are you a cat person, Timothy?
Oh yeah, I have 2 cats and I have a tattoo of a cat on me. So I'm definitely
It's so funny. Okay.
Oh, shit.
but I also love dogs. So, you know, who doesn't love dogs?
But you're finding an
I
easy
almost wish
nav.
that this were more in the overview.
You want to move. You want movement in.
Yeah, maybe a couple of these featured.
Would you
Let's
call it
see.
an overview? See, to me, that's an opening slideshow. So
Yeah,
you
that's
want
true.
to see motion here.
Yeah, maybe kind of mix it up. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That, I mean, just the fact that that's a whole section here means that it's definitely, I think,
Right.
a tool in her tool belt.
Sure.
So yeah, just showcasing that within that slideshow would be great.
So what I'm hearing from both of you is tell me as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Motion. Okay.
You know, all attention deficit disorder is definitely something that's become more prevalent. So, and in a social context, you know, you only have a few seconds to catch someone. So I think the more you can show up front, the better within the first 30 seconds.
Fair enough. Okay. So I feel like we all love, okay, so the only thing maybe is information, because we were talking about, you know, the about pages and what you guys like and what matters to you. And we're going to get more into that topic as we go through everything, but maybe check out her information.
Yeah.
That's really smart. Okay.
So it starts with the client list, small bio, commission.
Oh, no, there's a bio further down.
Oh, bio's right there. Okay.
Aw. She's clicking all your buttons, Katie.
I like that she did one. Let me actually just go back to that. I like that she did one with a dog, one with a cat. Very important. So as to not show a bias.
Well, and that's actually
Exactly.
interesting because we clearly go into one or the other, but she does have other animals listed here. So she very clearly telling us what she does, who she is, making it super easy to find whatever the heck the person needs when they get to her site. Like, this is a win. I think that, you know, I think all of the examples that we are looking at in terms of the ones that you guys are giving your quick, you know, first impressions on, that it's resoundingly like, these are the way you like to view stuff.
Certainly. Yeah. I think so. I think to speak earlier just on contact page, the previous one was a bit more condensed, which is, I think, something like having one page for that where everything is all in one place. I don't have to do too much to click out of there.
Okay.
Maybe condensed is a better approach than having separate sections.
Okay. Good to know. And do you like you said you wanted to see social media links early on. You have it right here. She's given it to
Yeah,
me.
so you've got the Instagram right there. That's obviously the most paramount. Yeah, anything that's, important for me to see, you want to have it up top.
Exactly.
Okay, well then I think that we'll go back to, we'll come back and look at some of your examples in a little bit. But I want to get into some, nitty gritty. I think we're going to find that we talked about a lot of stuff. So if you want to stop screen sharing for just a minute or however long.
Several minutes.
And on the next section. But okay, so website turnoffs to avoid and pet peeves. I want to ask Katie this question because I feel like you could probably go through hundreds and hundreds of sites in a day when you are doing something specific. And I don't know, Timothy, if you do it like that, maybe you do, but I feel like this is a good.
Maybe not hundreds. I might glaze over after 100.
Yeah, I mean, I guess over designing a website is really one of my turnoffs. When you walk into a website and it is so just over designed and you can feel somebody just trying to be so cool, trying to be so hip, and you just immediately know like they're gonna have to redesign this in a year from now or 2 years from now, or you just can't find anything in the site. Like, that they did, I work on cars, so that they just did a great project for Hyundai. They told you about it, you got a newsletter about it, you want to send it to some of your creatives, you walk into the site and there's just stuff willy-nilly all over the place. I find this a lot with like the German guys. They just don't spend time on their sites. And so you typically have to go to their rep sites or directly to their rep to get the projects back. That's where I get frustrated because that takes time. I have to email somebody, then wait for their response, and then get the stuff all together in order to send it to my creatives. Whereas it'd be nice if I could just find it directly on the website.
Well, this is where that PDF would come into play really nicely for you.
Right. Or just a website that's easy to navigate, period. I don't love when you enter a website and they have music, they make
I think we can all agree there. Yeah.
Exactly. Like, they make you go through multiple pages in order to get to an overview page. That to me is very frustrating. You're a photographer, you want me to look at your work and hopefully a lot of images of your work. So don't make it difficult for me to do that.
To find what you need. You're going with an agenda.
Yeah. Well, that's my job.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I shouldn't have to feel like I'm playing some sort of I don't know, whatever game that you have on your phone to kill time in order to get to the images.
So you don't want to fight with the site. I say that.
Yeah.
That's a great point.
I'm not playing Best Fiends in order to get them.
I used to play Best Fiends. That's so funny. So and Timothy, would you agree? You're nodding on all of this and you're feeling the same way.
Yeah, I mean, all of those points are completely valid. I don't want to have to do a lot of work to find what I'm looking for. I want it to be pretty clear so that I can find that quickly. Music wise, I think is never a good idea unless you're, it's an entertainment site for a brand. It's never meant for a personal portfolio. And I might already have my own music on while I'm trying to get through all these sites. So it just kind of becomes an obstruction.
Is font a thing that is going
to? 100%.
It will. Okay.
I'm a big type nerd. So
you want to see Papyrus. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, dear God.
I would love to see a site that has Papyrus, Marker Felt, Marker Felt and Comic Sans mixed. Like, that would be beautiful.
All in one site, like the same paragraph.
Yeah. No, I mean, just like, it's one of those things to me where I'm like, just keep it simple, stupid. Like, let the work speak louder than the site design at every turn. Like, the simpler the site, the better for me. Let it have an easy scroll. Let the let me blow up the images if I need to, let them be all thumbnails if I need it to be that way.
You want as much nav as you can have.
Yeah.
I did not mean to rhyme, but it sounds, that's like, so.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
I always say keep it super simple because I always feel bad saying stupid, but I've like, it is that, I mean, it is what it is. It's the
You could
truth.
do keep it stupid simple.
So I have another question on though, that just kind of popped into my head. Like, do you have a preference, like black background, white background? Is there?
I personally like a black background just because
You
I feel
do?
there's a cinematic quality to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it has to
I'm
match
already in a dark room
content.
all day.
Right. But
So
it
like
does
a
have to match
blast of
content.
white.
You don't want to see babies on black, basically, you know, like a black background. Or does
Yeah,
it
I
matter?
think that's a very valid point. I tend to, I think for my own personal stuff, maybe I prefer to see something against black just because I'm more in the motion video arena. But I think it's also a contextual basis of what am I looking at? What's going to best
Right.
complement the image? Yeah.
Okay.
I 1000% agree. I think it has to match what you're looking at. And if what you're looking at is lighter, brighter, and more on that spectrum, then it should be white background. If it is darker, more cinematic, then put it on a darker background. But don't mix the two. And like that really nice, bright lifestyle website that we saw, it would look weird if it was on a black background. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
But
To go back to typography, I definitely think I pay attention to what somebody's logo or little monogram is, more so than the actual font choice in their navigation. I would say usually with a font choice, if it's as long as it's an easy to read sans serif or serif. I also find, because I am a big type nerd, that if someone combines, a serif as like a header and then sans serif for body copy, that's something I find a sophistication in, but that's, a personal preference.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point because I took a lot of graphic design classes in school. And so if there's like mismatching type of type bodies that are going along together in the website, it kind of jumps out to me. And then I start to wonder about their taste level overall. And I'm like,
That's interesting.
Yeah, I think that's to that point, it's about taste and having an eye for things. And you don't have to necessarily be a typographer or a graphic designer to pick good type. You just have to know what looks clean and good.
Yeah.
And how you set those. Yeah.
And ultimately, they're going to have nothing to do with fonts.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of these are
what you're
templates
asking.
that are going to come with the typeface. Yeah.
Okay, so are there any other pet peeves, things to avoid like the plague? We have certain fonts, sound. One you guys didn't mention, but I would assume load time.
Load time and heavy animation for sure.
yeah.
Especially heavy animation, like to Katie's point earlier of it being like a showy thing. I want you to put your best foot forward so that I can use this to sell you to other people. So I don't want it to take forever to load. And, I don't want there to be, 300 different bells and whistles every time I just hover on top of an image.
So I'm going to move on to the next section. So when you guys are looking at sites, what gets you there? Is it because you're following a promo? Is it because you have a list of people that you're consistently looking at? Like you already know them, or somebody who's brand new reaching out to you? Do you have a mixture of looking at both of those things? Do you really look at one way or the other? I see Katie's nodding, so I'm going to ask you, Katie.
Yeah, I'd say like a mixture of all of those things. It's also like going down a rabbit hole of Instagram sometimes. But yeah, I mean, there's people who reach out to me all the time and they ask me to look at somebody new. It's seeing the promos. It's people reach out to me on LinkedIn, which is interesting. And yeah, there's just a lot of different avenues. I've found that Instagram is one of those ones that has been more of a rabbit hole recently to find more and more people and just see like
Totally.
who follows who and just, yeah. Oh, that's an interesting image that they got tagged in. What are they doing? Oh, well, they're tagging this person. What are they doing? And just keep running through that and running down that.
Yeah,
But
I do that as well.
yeah, for the
Do you
most part,
do you follow direct emails to you back to the person and their site? And is that the most common route for you?
yeah, I'd say it's a mixture. Yeah, a lot of it is people who reach out to me and all of that as well.
And Timothy, you agree with this, or?
Yeah, I definitely think, especially because a lot of the work that we're producing goes up on social, I'm spending a lot of time QCing some of that. So I'm on the platform already, and I'll definitely find artists, whether through artists that I, a referral from one profile to another, or even in the discover section, because of a lot of the profiles that I follow, I'll have things that pop up in feed of my discover section where I'll be like, oh, that kind of is what I'm looking for that. Or my phone will overhear me say something and then it'll just start showing me the images I'm looking for.
So my next question came, somebody gave it to me today and I thought this was interesting. When you are looking at, say you get a new promo or you get a new whatever, are you clicking it on your mobile device or are you doing that on your desktop? Are you doing one more prevalent more than the other? Or do you, I think there's a notion that everything is done on mobile now. And I'm asking if that's accurate for either of you, basically.
I feel I do a lot on mobile for sure, just because it's in my hand the majority of the time. If I really want to take someone's work in, I'm going to go to the desktop. But I also feel like it's good to be mindful of that switch between mobile and desktop. So something I think is just a given is having a site that's responsive. So knowing that people are going to be viewing this both on their phones as well as their desktops, and it doesn't change how we're going to take in the work. I understand something, when it's viewed on a small scale, I'm not necessarily seeing the best of the work, but I still want to have like an easy flow and experience looking through that on a mobile device.
And Katie, do you agree?
If I'm looking on Instagram, it's always going to be mobile.
Sure.
And if I'm like clicking through, but if I'm going through emails and I'm going through mailers and through all of that, it's desktop. And I'm on my laptop probably, oh, this is going to sound depressing, but like 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. So
Right there with you.
it's
when I'm
looking at my computer.
Yeah, I mean, when you get an email promo, and when I get them too, I actually try not to look at them on my mobile because I feel like that I'm not going to see as much. The navigation is usually, different or not as intuitive or easy to see, and I'm wear glasses.
Yeah, I definitely try not to, especially if it's like a full a emailer. But sometimes, I'll be out and somebody refers someone to me and I need to do it. Or you're on set and you need to review something simultaneously.
So, you and I were talking about this earlier and you said something that was just the smartest thing ever. And I wanted to repeat it. So I asked you the question about phone or desktop and you said the majority of the time you look on desktop, but that the artist should be mindful, should be showing mindfulness of the platforms and how the creative needs to use their site as a tool. So I think that's such a super point, and I'd love for you to just say it better than I just did, because that was horrible.
The point I was making is essentially, I'm looking at your website because I'm going to review your work, obviously, but then I have to go and share this with other creatives, other administrative decision makers, producers. So I want to see that there's a mindfulness that you're making a tool for yourself to sell yourself, but also a tool for me to sell you. So it's not just making it easy for every creative, it's making it easy to use for me to show to other people. It's
I would assume,
my tool.
right. And I'm assuming, Katie, you would feel the same way. You're doing that all the time. Yeah. Perfect. Well, I didn't want to let that moment pass. Okay, so now when you're looking for photographers, do you look for someone that can do a lot of different specialties, or do you want more of a niche specialist? You know, just because I think that there's a lot of niche photographers and there's a lot of photographers that have a more broad categories that they go towards. Do you have a preference when you have a given job between those two things? And yeah, let's leave it there. Do you have Katie, do you have a preference in that?
Well, I mean, I need photographers who can cross into motion, but since I work really specifically on automotive, yes, I feel like I bridge into niche category. It's amazing if they have a lot of lifestyle skills. I've definitely done a lot of work that's cross lifestyle and automotive, but when it comes to the ability to shoot large reflective objects, that is a super niche skill, especially when it's in studio versus on location. Can you bring CGI to the game? There's not a lot of people who have that skill. I'm just going to be upfront and honest. You have to really hone in on that skill and really, really develop a talent for it. And so I look for niche.
And Timothy, what about you? Or Tim, what about you?
I would say both, honestly, but niche because it's going to be specific to a project. You know, we have a number of like consumer brands or entertainment brands that we're working with, but with the consumer brands, especially, you know, if you're working, let's say, for a cannabis brand, you know, you want to, which we have worked with Open Roads before, that you want to find somebody that's familiar with shooting that specific product. So that's usually what I'm looking for. And it, again, to Katie's point, it is about being good at everything. But when I'm going to a site with a project in mind, I'm looking for something specific. Okay. So having those niche projects, I think, grouped are great.
So having specialties that, so you want a few areas of specialties, but that niche skill set is often what you're looking for. I think that answers the question. Okay. Are there specialties that don't go together that would turn you off to a site or I can't explain it. Maybe, you know, maybe nightlife, you know, and then kids, you know, are there things that would maybe that make no sense together? And
I mean, that right there.
Yeah. That,
like club nightlife and like live performance mixed with kids, family, maybe even pets. Like it feels a little bit incongruous. So it doesn't, because you're trying to get an idea of like, what does this person spend their time doing?
right.
And you become most like the things that you shoot and spend the most time around. So it's just like kids and nightlife seems like you're living two different lives. So maybe two different types of photographers too.
Okay. Does one have a higher perceived value over the other? I'm not really sure.
No.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
So if somebody's good at a lot of things and they have that niche quality, or somebody's only good at that niche quality, you're not paying them one more than the other.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't say so. Yeah.
Okay, so now we're at great sites to emulate. I feel like we're going to do this one because we're, you know, not running out of time, but we're wanting to keep this moving in a nice way. So the next question is site must-haves and scrolling navigation preferences. So if Timothy, you could start to share the sites, I'm going to sort of go through the rest of these questions while you guys are showing us your examples of things that you really like. Do you think,
Okay.
Can we start? Oh, we were going to start with Katie, but I guess it doesn't so much matter, although I don't know how.
No, that's all right. I have Katie's pulled up.
Okay.
I think this was the first one, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I can kind of just take you through why I really like it. It's Gentle and Hires. They're not German. They're a Belgian duo who do a lot of food and travel work. You can see that they start you right off on an overview page. You get a really, really lovely, succinct idea of what they do within their work. They've got a little bit of architectural photography, definitely a lot of food photography, definitely a lot of portraiture, including some environmental portraiture. And then you can go really like into all of the different like key overview pieces if you want. And it's just like a really lovely, easy scroll. Again, I think it's probably built on Squarespace, like everybody's these days.
For the most part.
So it's like it's an easy scroll. You can see them big. And then you can see like she broke it into her travel scene, just each and every little like place. If you want to get really into Lummi Island, which I think is a project on the Willow Creek Inn, which just blew up on their #2 time blowing up with the New York Times expose. So maybe don't look at that one, but Lummi Island is beautiful. And then you can see contacts, selected clients, Instagram, have a workshop with their.
So it's clicking all of the buttons. So for a must have, this is sort of easy navigation. I know where I'm going. I know what I'm going to get.
Exactly.
Scrolling preferences, you like options, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to do it how you want. I noticed that there's right away, we're seeing that motion. So you can see that right away. So you're getting that from them. Gallery sizes this is coming sort of, my question is, how big should a gallery be? What's too much? I feel like there's a lot of galleries here. And so what you said, Timothy, is like that you like to see both. You like to see those projects so you can jump into them, but having that overview, this is sort of the best of both worlds without feeling too much. But in the same breath, there's a lot of projects over here. Is there too much? Can they show too much?
I think if it were to get smaller than this, potentially, but I actually really like this size. I'm a person who spends a lot of time just finding inspiration on Pinterest. Okay. So it feels like a very similar user flow. And I think even when you click on them, you can save each of these images to Pinterest. So, I like this gallery format for sure. There are some pages we looked at, obviously, with that large slider image that kind of fades between images. You can do either. I think with the slider image, it's about speed. With this, it's about size of the gallery. But this one's good.
Is there a too much?
If you went smaller than this, and you had, what other, I'm going to guess about 15, 16 images here.
I'm not understanding you. When you're saying if you go smaller than this, you mean the thumbnail size. You don't mean the gallery size, or are you talking about the gallery size?
Well, kind of both at the same time, because if the images were to get smaller, they would acclimate to a larger space. So they would basically fill more images into it, is what it feels like. So at least with Pinterest.
If you scroll down, this gallery feels like it's probably 25 to 35 images at least, right? Mm-hmm. Is that what, even more maybe?
Yeah.
So that's nice. I'm sorry, Katie?
I think it feels nice for an overview page where
it's an overview gallery. Okay.
Totally. Yeah. I think if you had, 200 images, that's a different case, but this is a good amount.
Okay.
Even amount of columns and
Yeah. For every image being really strong, this feels good.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Can we move on to Katie's next site?
Sure. Is it Patrick?
Yeah.
There we go.
Again, we're seeing that motion right away.
right away. Yeah.
Easy nav.
You're seeing like a nice interplay between some lifestyle, some car work. You can see exactly right at the top, there's photography, motion, social content, exhibition. They put out a newsletter, so they want you to know that they do that.
Nice
And
type
then their
choice.
contact page. So
Nice typeface. Is that what you just said?
Yeah. Well, both the logo and the navigation. Nice type choices. Let's see the scroll. Yeah, even more motion. Love that.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah. And it also seems there's some design ability, like actual motion graphics on top of like any sort of video moving image. Effects, really great. And then the contact page we're going to look at. I was just curious.
Aw.
So they don't have a picture of them, I don't think.
Oh, that's not.
No.
Oh,
That's not a self-portrait.
So that's it's Marlene and Patrick.
Oh, okay.
So
Go
they're
on.
a duo.
Oh, that's them.
That is not them either.
Oh, that
I
is
know
not.
them really well. I've worked with them a lot.
Gotcha.
But yeah, they're one of those photographers who don't take pictures of themselves.
And that's all right.
so
Some
let's
people
move on to Katie's next. This one, when I saw it for the first, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
So you can tell I really like an overview page that shows me a lot of what I'm going to get. And I love this overview page because it starts with reds, it goes into light, like pinks, lighter blues, and then if you scroll down, it kind of goes through a rainbow.
I love that aspect. Super, super clever and conscious of what you're saying.
Yeah.
And then
There's
each
a
one, if you
method
click
to it.
on them, it blows up, does it? If you
Sorry, this is the one I chose. This is fantastic. Yeah, so it blows up and then let's see. Oh, and then you've got a little expandable information.
And then I think you click
I
back as you go.
then you
Right.
click back. But my favorite thing about this site when I hadn't seen it prior was the menu. I thought that was so.
This is, to me,
Oh, wow.
this is like the epitome of super design. Like I wanted to give an example of a photographer's website that's like hyper designed, but done well. And this is, to me, one of the only photographer's websites that I've encountered that's so over designed, but it actually pulls it off.
Mm-hmm.
And there's not very many people who do it and do it well. You have to like ride that line.
Mm-hmm. I'm just curious if you click. Okay, I love that. Just that it.
We have a live question asking us, if you resize the window smaller, what happens to the nicely designed color change?
Let's take a look.
And Mary Rafferty, who is one of our gals that we looked at, she said, do you like the idea of having a new work tab?
Yeah, I like knowing what's new.
Yeah, I think knowing what's up to date. I also look at social profiles in that sense, which is why having that up top I think is really. So I can just see in the moment what's the last thing you did.
This, by the way, gets better. It was good in the beginning, but as you made it smaller, it's even better.
Yeah, and this is what I'm talking about with the responsiveness we were talking about,
Yeah.
where mindfulness of mobile to desktop. This is a perfect example of that, where on the desktop you can see a whole plethora of images, but on mobile we know that you can't necessarily look at that many images in one page, so the page acclimates to 3 columns instead of 10.
Mm-hmm.
Love that. Scrolls the same, and then let's see. Love that the image becomes the full page and not necessarily in a box.
It took a minute for us to see it. We all saw blue and
Oh.
went, what are you talking about?
So yeah, I like the,
What was that? Yeah, no,
sorry.
I know, I feel you now, but you're having a way different experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Here, I'll click on this one. I like how within the design, the logo and the menu text and the expandable lower left-hand button here change color according to what complements the image. So that's a really clever but subtle detail.
Yeah.
We're looking at something orange, it becomes white, whereas then we look this stays black.
Yep.
Very, very classy.
Yeah. So
Great.
this is
Great site.
Love it. Oops. And I'll resize back to full desktop.
So we're a little bit over the hour, so I'd love for you to move on to some of your favorites and why.
Yeah, I can just show one or two. There's,
Okay.
I think these past three examples are perfect. Let me see the sharing button. I think I'll start with Ramon. Oops, need to go home. So Ramon is a director of photography. He doesn't necessarily have a splash page just because a majority of his work is moving as it is. But I do like the scroll that he has here. First, just on the landing page, love the typography. We've got it really simple in the navigation, work and about. The two main things that I'm going to be clicking on. And then I like this form of gallery. There's enough information there to like know what image to click on or what video to click on, I should say. Yeah, it's just obviously beautiful work, simple typography and navigation. And then the viewer, nice little Vimeo embed. The about section, similar to what we saw with Mary Rafferty, everything's really all there in one place. Contact information, clients, bio, everything. He doesn't necessarily have an image of himself in the photographic sense, but the fact that he's chosen something illustrative kind of seems like a choice to me.
It is him though. It is him.
It is, yeah.
I actually, on the workbook page, there's a illustration of me that was done by my sister. I actually kind of think that's cool.
Yeah.
okay.
Not kind of, I think it's cool.
And then contact information below and scrolling all the way to the top. So I believe actually the entire site is one scroll in a way, which I'm a huge fan of, the one and done, because you kind of tell the story of how you want to be introduced to somebody. So you can tell that he's a storyteller, just even scrolling down.
Absolutely.
So love that. That's Ramon Jaconi, awesome DP. Let's see. So this is a colleague of mine, Gretchen Meyer. Has the slideshow. So she does graphic work as well as oversees, brand executions. But, as far as her work, I love the way that her site moves, just that slide between the landing page and the work, how we've got navigation separated right here at the top.
So you like
and the fact that it filters.
Right, but you like a good transition.
I love a good transition. Like, I don't love crazy animation, but I like something that, it doesn't feel standard, doesn't feel necessarily built in.
Sure.
So just that slide, like I feel more sophisticated just using the website. And I also like the idea of filtering, so you don't have to go to multiple pages. It just kind of keeps it all there in one place. So, branding, it limits it to these few buckets. Experiential switches it over, whereas then I like that it's not
overview. Yeah.
Yeah.
So all is like her overview, branding is like branding and experimental. The other three are her portfolio categories for, yeah.
Exactly. Experiential, yep, which is more about her outdoor, out of home executions, and then presentations. Yeah. About, got the picture, nice slide, bio, good type, clients, testimonials, contact, everything's there. And then all the social connection is there, even Spotify, which is something I think is a nice choice by people.
So this was a question that we didn't really delve into on the about pages, we talked about it a little bit, but what are the must-haves? We want a photo. We want something that's memorable. We want to,
yeah, header of some sort, whether it's a statement or like, rather than it just saying bio, this is me. Hi, I'm Tim, whatever it is, just something that gives me a sense of you, even if I'm not going to read the bio. And then a bio section.
And then you want to see awards. You want to see recent work. You want to see awards. You want to see client lists. Okay.
Yeah, I think the client lists are important. The client list is always going to be there, which is something I'll actually show you on one more site after this. The client list is always going to be there. I think I actually want to see contact first because I don't want to search for it. And have that right next to the bio. And then after that, we can go into
your client list.
Client list, recent work.
I often think that the about page is a bit of a throwaway page. People just kind of put it up there and try to forget it because it's an uncomfortable element. But it feels to me, I think talking about yourself is uncomfortable. I think most people feel that way, especially people who are artists and they're creating work for to be seen, not to see them, right? And Katie hit on that really early. Nobody likes to get their picture taken, but I think that it's difficult for artists to talk about themselves. And I think that what I'd love everybody to have a takeaway here is these guys are saying, tell us about you. They want to know information about you. The more information or the easier they can have a sense of who you are, the better they're going to connect with you. So everybody please, listening in, please keep that in mind. It's important.
Yeah, I think, and that's a perfectly valid point because I'm not just buying into the work. Your work is beautiful, obviously. It's what is the experience of working with you going to be like?
Okay, that's really fair. Show us that list thing that you wanted, and then I have no.
So this was actually, go back to the, I like this page. This is a motion designer that I've worked with a number of times. I love his site because it's very simple. Navigation is very clear. Logo, he starts with his best work right there with the real list software. This is obviously something a bit more specific to design, but software and his personality and what he's been through. So you've got everything there, including work right there when you land. And then you can, get the summation there. But if you go further, then you get into an actual portfolio grid, showcasing the brands and logos that he's worked for. But he also has this. This is the thing I was referring to, which is this bar at the top, which is kind of like a logo cloud. Let me actually reload the page because I think it's supposed to scroll.
Oh, I see. It moves back and forth.
Yeah. So this right here, where my cursor is, this scrolls from left to right. I'm not sure why it's not doing it right now.
And then,
there you go.
It
there
is.
There's a little shift. There it is.
So just for clarity, he's got the logos moving, but then underneath it's the actual work he did for each of these companies. That's
exactly
like an interesting way to present a portfolio.
Yeah, I think he's basically getting, the deeper you want to dive, the further down you scroll. So you start there with like, if I only have 30 seconds, there's all the information you need to have. If I have 30 minutes, I can take a deeper dive and go down here. Like, here's all the brands, here are the individual projects I can go into, things along those lines. And then finally, at the very end, his bio is also part of the homepage with all the social bugs next to his contact.
So I have a question from the audience. That was really a great example. I just wanted to say thank you to both of you for coming up with all those examples and sharing them with us. We really appreciate it. If you can exit out now, I want to ask you this question. What design works best for someone new to the industry and doesn't have a ton of work, as opposed to an established artist who has a ton of menus and sub menus. I think this is really, as you're building your breadth of work, you know,
Mhm.
what design might work best for them?
I think just a simple overview page. Just keep it simple.
Yeah, especially like that last one where it's all just like a one and done, a oneer, as I would call it. I think that's the most you can, or not the most you can do, but the best, I think, would be to keep it simple. Keep it stupid simple. Um,
Yeah, I
Don't-
mean,
and don't try to, inflate it beyond what it actually is.
and here's the deeper question to that. You don't want to just fill, right? You want to keep
Yes.
that quality, and it's better to see less than more. Would you both agree?
Yeah,
Quality
you
over
said it right there. Quality over quantity.
Exactly. Every time. I would rather see 5 images that make me drop my jaw than see 30 images where 25 of them are throwaways.
Mhm.
I recently saw a website where the artist, the galleries were my 10 favorite lifestyle shots, my 10 favorite portraits, my 10 favorite, and it was all of his categories, but just his 10 favorite. And I thought that was smart, right? Like, I mean, less is more and all of that, but I was like, this is unique. Usually I don't see brevity like that. You know what I mean? So, okay. So this that live question, and I don't know who you are, anonymous attendee, but thank you for that, because it was a really good one, and it kind of brings me into the last questions of the of the day, which is, what is the most important advice you can give to those creating a new site?
Hmm.
I think you need to really stay true to what kind of artist you want to be, what kind of clients you want to attract, and really, like, at the end of the day, make sure that you QA your site against other people who aren't artists and aren't in industry, and show it to them and say, like, what do you think when you enter my site? Is it easy to use? Are the images impactful? Can you find everything? Can you find my information? Can you find my social handles? Can you easily access my Instagram from here? And knowing what you know about me, does this speak loudly and proudly to the work that I like to produce? Pass that by people that you already know in the industry, and pass that by people that you don't know in the industry. But above all, you saw pretty much across the board from Tim and from me and from the other websites that we looked at, we like really, really simple sites. We like really, really easy things to dive into. And they weren't always design-wise too far off each other. It doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to speak to you and what you like to make, and show that off to its loudest and its proudest.
Yeah.
Really good advice. So I'm going to take the next question
Send it
to
off.
you, Timothy, because we're over and so what's the most important advice you can give to someone editing their site? So that was for new people, but for editing the site, what do you think the best advice you could give someone is?
Take off your old work unless it's still super relevant to what you do and doesn't look dated.
Yeah.
I know it hurts to kill your children, as I kind of like to say.
Kill your darlings.
Yeah, kill your darlings, but like, some of that older work, it just has to go. It needs to be like the newest and the freshest. And maybe have somebody go through who doesn't know you very well and have them strike images from the page.
Yeah,
Because
I think the best rule is emotion over like cool factor. Like, just because you think it's cool doesn't mean it's the best thing to sell someone on your work. It's more about what's going to bring about that feeling that someone's looking for. And so, yeah, just when you're cutting things out, it's emotion over cool.
And would you agree, Timothy, the way to, the best advice for someone editing, like somebody who's been in the business for a long time, is get rid of that old work. You agree with Katie's point earlier?
1000%. You know, unless it still holds true to what you're doing now, which technically
about
it
if
should,
it's like
we all grow.
What if it's like an iconic piece of yours? Like, is it worthy to create something called an icon, or maybe a
So like
archive?
a archive type of portfolio
Sure.
piece, like a tent pole piece of your portfolio that kind of defined a certain, you know, point in your career that propelled you into a new part. Yes, I think those are totally great, but obviously never put a student project in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's like VW Think Small, or if you took the picture of the Beatles crossing Abbey Road, by all means put that in your portfolio.
Yeah.
But if it is not like super duper iconic, it's probably like worth removing.
Yeah, just because trends change too, and what people are looking for. Like it was great in 2005, but is it great in 2021?
Yeah.
You know, we've created, technology has come a long way, let alone the stylistic approaches. So
Exactly.
Oh, absolutely. I could pull out time
yeah,
capsules behind me to show you, for sure. Well, we have gone over time, and I know everybody is, you guys have been super patient, but I just wanted to thank you so much. This
Yeah.
was wonderful. You guys are amazeballs. You're both going to be in the same city sometime soon, so drinks are on me. And
Wait,
I
I'm
would
going
love.
to Texas. No.
No, she's coming to LA. I'm not going to Texas. So,
There she is.
And God says hello too.
What a
What's your
sweet,
pup's name?
Ziggy Stardust.
Oh God,
I feel
because
like
I always have to know.
in the background would probably appreciate it.
well, I thank you both for taking time with me today. I love that I reached out to you and you both were like, yes, love that. And so I just want to say thank you. And I'm going to start the wave goodbye, which means we're signing off, and Jim's going to click the
Thanks for
button to
having
end.
us.
Thank you.